Hey, what's going on, everybody? Um, I want to do a quick video on, Black History Month. Being that it's February and, we usually celebrate Black History Month in February, which, in my opinion, I feel like it should be in June because that's when the most historical things happen within our culture. Well, within Black culture. But, I noticed, just coming up within the school system and everything, you don't really get taught your whole history. They teach you about Martin Luther King, Colin Powell, Rosa Parks, the people that we hear about all the time. But it's so many people that are just not mentioned, from Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X, to I can go on and on. And I just think that it's up to us to learn our history and learn where we come from, because I was one of those kids that I always knew what was going on. I wasn't one of them Walt Disney kids that I'm kind of in this fairy tale land. I had a uncle that was an ex-Black Panther. So, well, not an ex-Black Panther, he was a Black Panther, but that's a whole nother video. But I was always informed of my history. I knew where I came from. I knew the type of conditions that we're living in. I knew, the things, if they weren't changed, what it can lead to. I knew about, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the 5% Nation. I knew about all these. I knew about my history as a whole, not just what America wants me to know, or the white teacher that I go to every morning for school. I knew more of who I was at a very young age, and I think that's something that's missing with our kids nowadays. I think we live in a generation where a lot of these kids out here are very Americanized. They don't really know where they come from or a sense of their history. And when I say American, I'm not saying they shouldn't feel American, because if you're born in this country, you are American. You do have American rights, although we know those are violated every day. We see that right here on YouTube. But I feel like a lot of our kids nowadays, they don't really have a sense of history and where they come from, and the tricks and things that are used to keep them as a permanent underclass in this country. And when you talk about certain things, like where they come from, and you can ask a cat 14, 15 years old, do you know your history? Do you know where you come from? Do you know the history of this country? Do you know about your people besides slavery? Oh, I don't know, man. Fuck that, man. I'm trying to get this money, man. I'm trying to get on these hoes. That's kind of the mindset. Our generation is really focused on bullshit, and I think that's a big reason why our people are in the gutter. And part of the responsibility is just the elders, and the parents putting their kids on game. Letting them learn their history. It looks like they get on the internet and get on Facebook and YouTube and look at music videos and porno and all that other shit. Make them get on the internet and learn about their history. Let them go to the library, because it's things that the internet is going to hide from. A lot of this stuff, you have to go strictly to the library, open up a book, and read. And that's something that is lacking within the Black culture, reading. I know if y'all have heard this old saying, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. We've heard that before. And I think that's a serious problem within our community. We don't read. We let the media, and we let, rappers and athletes and all these other casts that you see on TV that are nothing but entertainers teach our children. And it's up to us, for us to install that knowledge of self into our kids, so that when they get older, they know where they come from. They can't be fooled by the bullshit that this country puts upon them. You know how to stay away from certain things, because this is nothing but a trap. You know how to stay out of the white man's plantation. Which is AKA the jail system. You know how to pick up when someone's being racist towards you, or when someone is trying to set you up and keep you in a permanent underclass. And all that just comes from knowing your history, knowing where you come from. So, I mean, I don't want this video to come off like, like I'm lecturing to anybody, but I feel like because this is Black History Month, I think we need to dig a little bit deeper. We need to go a little bit further than, playing, Martin Luther King documentaries all on BET and, saying the stuff that we already know, Frederick Douglass. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discredit those people. Those people have a great significance within our culture and our history. But at the same time, we need to know the full spectrum. We need to talk about those who are not talked about a lot. And that's basically what I just want to leave it at. But y'all comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Support Black History Month. We go out and we kill each other for Air Jordans and stand in long lines for iPhones and all that other bullshit. Make sure you support Black History Month. And throughout this month I will be putting certain videos up or whatever, doing my part as being a black man in this country, because our history is something that it's not even a maybe. You must learn your history, because if you don't, you're preparing yourself to be manipulated, you're preparing yourself to be trapped, and you're preparing yourself to basically live in a state of mindset of ignorance. But that's all I gotta say. I'm out, y'all.